What's up, Falcons Nation? It's your boy Jew coming at you with another Atlanta Falcons video. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up. In today's video, I want to give you guys some Atlanta Falcons news. We're going to talk free agency and some of the moves that have happened so far this week for our Atlanta Falcons. But if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so you'll know when I've done Atlanta Falcons content. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We're about 50 subscribers away from 1,000. So definitely continue to share out this content. Let all your friends and family know about the channel. If you would like to follow me on Twitter, you can follow me at JewTalkSports. But with that being said, let's jump right into the video. So it's been a lot that's happened so far this week. So we're basically going to first start with Matt Ryan, him having his contract restructured earlier this week. I wasn't surprised by the move of us restructuring Matt Ryan's deal and keeping him here for the foreseeable future to the end of at least until the end of his current contract. I believe him and Julio Jones will finish out the contract that they signed a couple years ago. I do believe that this was the right move by Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith. If you're a part of AFN, Atlanta Falcons Nation, if you've been checking out our channel, checking out our live shows and things of that nature, we've been saying it from day one that the Falcons would keep Matt Ryan around, that he isn't the problem with the Atlanta Falcons. The quarterback position is not where we're struggling as an Atlanta Falcons organization, and we feel that Matt Ryan gives us the best chance to win now. If you remember a couple months ago, Arthur Blank and Rich McKay, before they hired Terry Fontenot and they hired Arthur Smith, they talked about bringing in a new regime, a new head coach, a new GM that not only can win in the future, but that can keep us as a competitive team and as a contended team now. Like, they don't just want to win later, but they still want to be relevant now. And I really believe keeping Matt Ryan around was the right decision so that we can stay relevant now. Like I said, he hasn't been the problem over the last couple years. I really feel like the defense has been our main issue. Pass rush and us not being able to run the football and be physical in the trenches have been the Falcons' biggest Achilles heel. Also, coaching has been a huge problem as far as managing games. Situational football has been terrible over the last couple years by Dan Quinn and then by Raheem Morris last season. We lost a lot of close games. And that goes to show you that coaching is very important. Coaching is paramount in the NFL. So I really think that keeping Matt Ryan around was the right decision by Terry Fontenot, giving him that extension, basically making him almost impossible to be traded or moved before his contract is up in, I believe, 2023. So I was happy with the move. I do believe that Matt Ryan is the quarterback to win a Super Bowl here for our Falcons. I do believe he can lead this team to a Super Bowl and also win the Super Bowl. He's already proven that he's an MVP caliber quarterback. He's already proven that he could take us to a Super Bowl, which he did in 2016. And he was one of the sole reasons why we got to the Super Bowl in 2016. We were one of the highest scoring offenses, averaging about 33 to 34 points a game in 2016. Matt Ryan completion rating was almost 70% that year, and he threw for over 4,000 yards, almost 5,000 yards. So Matt Ryan has proven everything that he has to prove as far as being an elite quarterback in this league. And I think going forward, they did the right thing to push all of our chips to the middle of the table and see where it leads. Let's see where, let the chips fall where they may. I do think that Matt Ryan is a guy that can get the job done. So moving on from Matt Ryan and that news early this week, I also want to talk about my man Dante Fowler Jr. He actually got restructured. He decided to take the pay cut, which I think was the right move by Dante Fowler Jr. And I do believe that was the correct move by Atlanta Falcons to keep Dante Fowler Jr. around and not cut him. He is the defensive end / outside linebacker for Atlanta Falcons. He is the best pass rusher we currently have on the roster. As far as on the edge, him and Grady Jarrett, we're definitely going to have to continue to build around these guys and add pieces. We did keep a guy like Jacob Tuioti Mariner. We did keep him around. but he's just a rotational pass rush piece. I do believe we need to add in this upcoming draft to the defensive line. The main thing that I would do in this draft is bring in some more edge rushers, another nose tackle, and then hope that the players that we got, Dean Pease, can help develop, like a John Kaminsky, a Marlon Davison. We also re-signed or restructured a player like Tyler Davison as well, which personally I would have cut Tyler Davison, but I believe because we're so short-handed on the defensive line and we don't have a lot of cap space, we had no choice but to keep a player like Tyler Davison, which he is a space eater in the running game. And I do think he could actually help our roster as far as giving us depth, because in the NFL, because, injuries are going to happen, because football is a very physical sport and injuries are going to play a part in what team is in the Super Bowl, what team are going to be playoff teams. You need as many bodies as you can, as you can have, many able bodies as you can have. And we know that firsthand here with our Atlanta Falcons, the way that we've dealt with injuries over the last couple seasons. So I definitely think that Tyler Davison can play that run stuffing role that he's played over the last couple years. He's not a world beater, but I believe restructuring that contract that TD gave him prior to being fired was something that Terry Fontenot and this regime basically had to just roll with it, because we're kind of having to play the hands that we're dealt right now. Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith, their hands are kind of tied when it comes to the cap. So we have to do as much as we can with the resources that we have. So I wasn't really on board with keeping a player like Tyler Davison, because I don't think that he's lived up to his contract. But in the same breath, Dante Fowler Jr. didn't live up to his contract last year as well. I mainly think that was had to do with his injuries and coaching more than Dante Fowler Jr. But we'll see, what happens this season. I do think Dante Fowler Jr. is going to have a big year for our Atlanta Falcons. I think he's going to have over 10 sacks this season, and possibly be a Pro Bowler. That's my bold prediction for a player like Dante Fowler. I've been a fan of Dante Fowler since he was in college, and I do think that he's one of those guys that can get the job done, and he is a premier pass rusher in this league. If you put the correct pieces around him, if you bring those space eaters and bring in another dominant defensive tackle, I really think that Dante Fowler Jr. in this aggressive style defense with Dean Pease, the different multiple fronts that Dean Pease is going to run, I think a player like Dante Fowler Jr. is going to flourish. And a lot of the other guys that haven't gotten the opportunities that they deserve, like John Kaminsky, I think he's another player that's going to blossom right before our eyes. Jacob Tuioti-Mariner, who showed flashes last year, I think with a more aggressive defensive scheme, a lot of these players that look like they weren't really good players, or look like they weren't serviceable players, are going to look a lot better under a great defensive mind like Dean Pease, who knows how to use his weapons. Also, in this free agency, we haven't really seen any huge signings. The only signing I believe we had was a trade, and we're bringing in a guy named Lee Smith, who's a tight end. He played for the Buffalo Bills. I like this pickup because he's going to play the role that Luke Stalker wasn't able to play for our Atlanta Falcons at being at blocking tight end. Ever since we brought over a player like Luke Stalker from the Tennessee Titans, he didn't do a good job of playing that second tight end role, being that blocking tight end. He really struggled ever since we signed him about 2 to 3 years ago when we brought him over from the Tennessee Titans. So I do think that Lee Smith, coming over from the Buffalo Bills, he looks like a guy that's really physical in the trenches. Since we're going back to that physical style running game, double tight end sets, multiple tight end sets that Arthur Smith likes to run, I think that Lee Smith is going to flourish, and he's going to really help our Atlanta Falcons in a huge way. I think he's an upgrade over a player like Luke Stalker. We did bring back Jaden Graham, and we still also have Hayden Hurst. And I really think that we're going to see Hayden Hurst's game get taken to another level this upcoming season with Arthur Smith at the helm, because if you look at a player like Jonnu Smith, who just got a huge contract from the New England Patriots, that had a lot to do with Arthur Smith scheming Jonnu Smith open when he was there in Tennessee, and him knowing how to use the tight end position, being that he was a former offensive lineman. Arthur Smith is a coach that understands schemes, understands alignments on the offensive line, and understands how to get the tight ends involved. And that's something that Dirk Cutter really struggled with. So I really feel like our running game is going to take a huge leap this year. And I think in the trenches, our offensive line, I think is going to gel a lot better this year because Arthur Smith is a guy who played the position, understands leverage, understands schemes, and understands how to get guys open and put guys in great positions to catch, touchdowns and to get first downs and things of that nature. So I really think that our red zone efficiency is going to be a lot better this year with a guy like Arthur Smith that understands how to gain the advantage when it comes to mismatches and things of that nature on certain plays. So with that being said, I think I pretty much hit on everything that I wanted to talk about in this video. Pretty much that's all that has taken place so far in this free agency period. I told you guys when we did our last show on Atlanta Falcons Nation, I believe it was Kicking It with K-Styles. I basically just, stated with you guys that don't expect any splash signings by the Atlanta Falcons because we don't have the money. We barely got under the cap before the deadline, and that's because we restructured a whole bunch of players. But we don't have really the money to go out and sign any of the big name free agents that are out there. We're really going to have to build this roster through the draft, which is the correct way to do it anyway. But with that being said, this been your boy Jew. You guys let me know what you think about the video. Definitely hit that subscribe button for your boy. Stay tuned. I'm going to have a lot more coming for you guys as far as the Atlanta Falcons content. But I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Like I said, if you haven't already hit that sub button, definitely hit that subscribe button. Help your boy get to 1,000. And with that being said, as always, Falcons Nation, rise up. Peace and love. I'm out.